We back. Welcome into the Sox On Tap post-game show. It's Johnny Nani, NWI Steve, right alongside me, bringing you White Sox post-game content for On Tap Sportsnet. Steve, how you doing this fine afternoon? White Sox winner.
Hey, yo, Jonathan. I'm doing a lot better today than we were on Monday, my friend.
Yep, that's right. That's right, Steve. Yeah, the home opener was a great time, but there was baseball on the field that was not great baseball. And luckily, White Sox turned that around, turned the fortunes around today. And we're going to talk all about that. A lot of news, not just in the game, obviously, plenty to discuss from that, but, some news injury-wise, health-wise for some others, and, some stuff to get to. But we also have some housekeeping to get to, and that's letting you know, make sure. On Tap Sportsnet on YouTube, place to go and find these shows, clips, shorts, all of that. Go and subscribe so you don't miss any of it. And then follow us on social media as well at Sox On Tap and at On Tap Sportsnet. And our little handles are right underneath our nameplates here. All right. That does it for that, Steve. Let's dive in. I want to rip the Band-Aid off. Start with this. I know we got to win, and I am feeling good about that. But let's rip the Band-Aid off. We got our first in-season IL stint announced today, and that's Eloy Jimenez going to the 10-day IL with a low-grade left hamstring strain. What was your reaction hearing this news?
My reaction was, here we go. This is the one thing I wrote about and talked about in my preseason article, kind of breaking down the team. And a lot of people, some on this show, scoffed at my piece, but the health concerns relating to the big three prospects that I've coined: Luis Robert Jr., Yoan Moncada, and Eloy Jimenez. And here we are now, 5 games into the season. As you alluded to, we've already got that first IL stint for Eloy. Going to be out 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, not even a week in, Steve. That's the kind of what, chaps my ass a little bit about it. Because I was, it was like a rarity, and it felt like actually good to have the whole, core, I guess, together and everyday position players. I know there are some pitchers on the fringe, with William Hendrick's situation, Garrett Crochet, Matt Foster, all of those guys were kind of, everything was on the pitching side though, right? So coming in with all of your everyday position core players, all the bats in the lineup, wanted to see what they could do all together. So now we're going to get like another one of these like charts where we got to break it down and have the blocks, right, filled in on the Excel spreadsheet of, okay, well, this is the one that Eloy missed, and who's going to be next, and on it goes. That's so White Sox. That's the way I view it. And like you said, here we go again with this. And Steve, when I first saw that, and I saw it, it was retroactive to Tuesday, so the 4th of April, and I was timing out like a 10-day IL stint for that. And I was like, okay, well, Eloy could potentially return for that Orioles series, right, on April 14th. Friday, April 14th was when that starts. And I was like, that's not too bad if you miss the rest of this, the Pirates series. It's not ideal, but could be worse. Oh yeah, guess what? It got worse because they said 2 to 3 weeks, like you mentioned there. So now we're looking at like closer to the end of the month, and possibly when they're hitting a road trip to like Tampa and Canada. That chaps my ass.
Yeah, it's certainly not ideal. Not what you wanted to see, especially because there were so many people that were feeling good about where Eloy was at, even though the power had manifested itself here to this point through the first 5 games of the season. I think the one good thing about this, or I guess the best case scenario, is that they do have suitable, capable, major league ready replacements in Gavin Sheets, and then recalling Jake Berger from AAA Charlotte. And this is one of the things I saw people talking about towards the end of spring training, especially when Rhys Hoskins went down with the Phillies. Some people within the fan base trying to kind of lighten the load a little bit and declutter some of the first base corner DH guys, saying that one of those players should be moved to the Phillies. And my thought was, no, we know Eloy's going to get hurt at some point. He's going to go down. Yaz coming off of his injury issues a year ago. Andrew Vaughn hasn't had a clean bill of health either, especially with the back injuries in spring training here. So why would you go and deplete an area where you have capable major league ready replacements that can come in and actually do the job that we've seen do the job?
Right. Yeah. I think that's an important note to bring up there on our guys' Sox side. Mike jumps in the comments is good thing they have better DH options than they would realistic, lefty field options, right field options, whatever. There, I agree. Kind of hints at Steve's point there. So one of those guys you just mentioned, Gavin Sheets, in the lineup today and doing some damage. Hey, Steve, he's the top performer of the game. If you go and look at MLB.com's wrap and box score and all that, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. He gets it done. Helps lead the White Sox to a 7-3 win. Obviously, a lot of contributors in this one, but hey, good for Tony's baby boy showing up for, kind of first time. I mean, I know we did play that one game in Houston, but other than that, first real run here.
Anthony has to be a very proud papa today, seeing his baby boy make a big contribute today in a situation where he was thrust into the lineup. So he's just got to be brimming ear to ear, ripping that diesel in the garage over at Casa de Marchesi there. So it's just got to be just smiles all around Casa de Marchesi right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a happy occasion, but it was good to see. And, I like Gavin Sheets' whole approach to this thing too, Steve, because he did he was the guy who wore the headset after the game for NBC Sports Chicago, and he was talking a little bit, and he had just said that, I'm ready to step up. That's my role, and I know what my role here on my team on this team is, and I like that just because it shows a good team first mentality, and I feel like that was lacking a bit all throughout the clubhouse last year. So I like hearing that. I go to the Eddie O quote, what he always said, about role players, accept and execute. Well, looks like Gavin Sheets did that today. Then I also liked that he joked about him and Jake Berger kind of platooning, split with their bat, the righty lefty stuff. He's like, yeah, well, together we make a pretty good player. That got a good chuckle out of me.
Yeah, no, that's a great point to see a guy have perspective on it and have the self-awareness and, kind of make fun of himself a little bit. That helps kind of lighten the mood a little bit for what could have been a little bit of a down clubhouse, knowing that Eloy is going to be gone for a couple of weeks and, Gavin stepping up both on the field and then on the mic, helping to keep things light and going forward.
Yeah, he's a good personality to have around too. So that's another thing that kind of goes. It's an intangible that you can't measure when you're talking about. Oh, if we move this guy, how would it affect clubhouse chemistry? I think that's another thing to just keep in mind when you talk about moving on for players or what players' values are, what's their worth. Obviously, what you see on the field, but then goes beyond that. So I think that speaks to it, what Gavin said after the game. Elsewhere, though, Steve, talking about this game, it was Dylan Cease day, and not quite as sharp as he was on opening day down in Houston. However, it's funny. I want to just say for White Sox fans, we do a lot of woe is me, a lot of pissing and moaning and bitching about things that happened to us. And like with the Eloy thing, we just said, here we go again. This is what happens with all of us. Well, I think we should be very appreciative of Dylan Cease because a down day for him, what does that look like? Just a casual 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 earned run. What do you have walks wise here? You did issue 5 free passes, so there's that to clean up. We've known that's been an issue with him, but hey, you're talking about him, a guy who said he felt a little under the weather last night and goes out and throws an outing together like that. We should be pretty damn thankful as White Sox fans.
That's one thing that Steven Stone likes to talk about with starting pitchers. If you look at it over the course of a 10-start interval, the best of the best are really going to have 5 outings where they go out there and they have above average to top level stuff. You're going to have 3 where you're going to be average, and then you're going to have 2 where you're just really fighting yourself. I would say this was one of those 2 outings where he was really out there fighting himself, did not have particularly good command of any of the secondary offerings today. Working to try to get ahead of hitters with those pitches was really a struggle for him throughout the entirety of the game. But to your point there, when he got himself into some tough situations, 3rd inning, bases loaded, 2 outs, and little Yaz up there, goes up there and just bites off a wicked front door slider to end the at bat. Had another situation where he was able to strike out Jock Peterson with a couple of guys on in the 5th inning there with a breaking ball. So he really was able to bear down when he needed to and make a competitive pitch and execute when needed without his best stuff today. So that's the sign of a guy that really, I think, is continuing to mature here at the major league level.
A shit from Dylan Cease. You got to say that you go out and obviously you're bleeding a little bit after a ass kicking that you took in your home opener. So to salvage some vibes, set the tone for this one to get you back on track, get the Southside faithful their first victory of the season, in person there. I think that's big to have your number 1 guy go out there and do that. So well done by Cease in those 5 innings that he tossed there. Steve, we'll keep it on the pitching front real quick here, and pretty much a clean outing for the bullpen, which has been not the case so much early on in the season. I know there was a couple of runs allowed by Joe Kelly and some garbage time there, but hey, I like what I'm seeing when I see goose eggs. I go and look down this earned run column here in the bullpen of the box score. and I see Jake Diekman, Aaron Bummer, Reynaldo Lopez, Jimmy Lambert, all with those goose eggs. That's a good sign.
It is definitely a good sign. And I think one of the challenges that baseball fans face, and I feel like us as Sox fans, we face this a lot more just because I think we perpetually are a little bit more pessimistic than some other fan bases can be, just due to life experience of being a fan of this team. Recency bias in particular, and looking at small sample sizes here. So hearing a lot of people talk about, oh, well, this bullpen is an absolute disaster. They're terrible. It's a 5-game sample size. If this was a 5-game stretch in the middle of June and they're 10 games over 500, would it be annoying? Absolutely. But because this was the first 5 games of the season, you have nothing else from a sample size standpoint to really compare it to relative to the entirety of a 162 game season. It gets magnified. So I think it's important to kind of keep that perspective a little bit. Yes, that 5-game stretch there was not particularly great from the bullpen here, but that doesn't mean that that's what it's going to continue to be over the course of the remaining 156 games now here this season.
Yeah, right. All right. While we're on bullpen here, they did get into a little bit of a tight spot in an inning that Aaron Bummer started, and it was the 7th. Yeah. And then Reynaldo Lopez eventually came in and closed it down. But we got Mike asking, is Raylo #back here? He made a big pitch in a big spot. But talk about these two guys in a little bit of a jam that the White Sox did work themselves into.
Yeah, Aaron Bummer kind of doing what we've unfortunately seen far too often from him, getting himself in trouble, just going out there and nibbling, putting on free base runners. This has unfortunately been a problem through the first 6 games of the season outside of opening night. Pitchers going out there and issuing too many free passes. Bummer's been a culprit of this for a couple of years now. So what I think is going to be important, and we saw him, we talk about Dylan Cease battling back and finding a way to get through adversity. Aaron Bummer, when he had that at bat against Michael Conforto, it was like he flipped a switch and went out there and just buried him and was able to get a pivotal second out right there and be able to get the ball to Reynaldo Lopez, who then came in again. Control and command issues out of Raylo once again here, but he was able to bear down when he needed to and get that pivotal strikeout there to get out of that 7th inning scoreless. So they got themselves into some jams of their own doing, but they didn't cave under the pressure. They fought through it, and they made and executed quality pitches when they absolutely had to.
Yeah, Raylo with some nuts there. Walking Villar coming in because there was the matchup that Grifol was trying to play there with a righty. And then, you got to face the lefty there. I thought that took some stones there, especially pumping heat, where he did. But, he throws it with conviction, as you like to say. And you see what kind of results it can produce when you do that. And you have confidence in yourself. And obviously, he's just got some gas that he throws. That helps as well. But you got to have the mindset as well. So I like seeing Raylo there. Yes, Sox said Mike, Raylo is #back. I'm going to call it. All right, let's move on, because I like when you can go and shut a team down like that and then turn it around and basically put the game away right away after that. And that's what the Sox did in the bottom of the 7th. Stringing together, this was a crooked number, Steve. 3, we love crooked numbers.
I love crooked numbers.
Yep. The first, 3 runs, the largest inning of the day for the White Sox, but they got the bats going, hit parade going. Yoan Moncada coming up and a bases loaded spot. Hey, felt like we couldn't hit for shit with the bases loaded last year. Nice to see Yo-Yo come through. Neon Moncada, Neon Moncada come through with the in the big spot there, and then line kept moving.
Yeah, one of the important things with this game, and I saw this in the stat column during Pedro Griffol's post-game press conference, for all the consternation that there has been about the struggles with runners in scoring position to start the year, which has been a continuation of a problem from a year ago, they were 7 for 12 with runners in scoring position here today. That's big. That's something that we need to continue to see happening here if this team is going to continue to play well here through the remainder of this month, and kind of a little softer pocket in the schedule to start the season. So coming through, being, dare I say, opportunistic.
Ooh, I like that word.
So really, really nice to see that. I kind of want to talk a little bit bigger picture offensive approach today against Logan Webb and some of the other Giants pitchers. Really saw great approach with this team, particularly the right-handed hitters, working the other way, going to the opposite field. We saw Andrew Vaughn do that in the first inning. We saw Luis Jr.
Oh, he got it. He landed it.
Nailed it. Stuck the landing. We saw him do that a couple of times here today. That's, on the back of an opposite field home run he had during the home opener on Monday. So I talk about this, I think, pretty regularly with hitters. If they're in a slump and if they're not seeing the ball well, one of the signs that I like to look for, especially with right-handed power hitters, is if they start to work the ball the other way, kind of let the ball get a little bit deeper on them, see it hit the bat a little bit, take it that other way, and then you can really start to turn and burn once you get that comfort level back on here. So Luis Robert Jr. might be getting ready to take off here a little bit offensively, which would be a very positive sign. But again, we saw that with Andrew Vaughn. We saw it with Elvis Andrus, Hanser Alberto doing it. And then even the left-handed hitters, Anthony's baby boy, Gavin Sheets, and Yohan Moncada really playing pull side with that. And a lot of that was just a function of the tailing action that is a little more glove side with Logan Webb and his pitch mix that he offers up there today. So really great offensive approach from the team today.
Yeah, I liked it. And I think it's, the turning around for Luis Robert. I like to see that today, 3 for 4 with a double run batted in, 2 runs scored himself. So that's, stringing together good games here, obviously based from Sunday onward. He's been swinging a hot stick after kind of flailing and everything right early on in those first few games down in Houston. So good to see some of these guys bounce back. Multi-hit performances are cool and tough. We all know that. A bunch of guys there: Robert Benintendi, Moncada, Gavin Sheets, all those guys, multiple hits. And then, hey, shout out Elvis Andrus too. 2,000 career hits. A veteran guy around the team, been around the league long time, but he provides some good leadership here. Good to see him reach this milestone.
Yeah, that is something that's pretty special. And no matter how you want to slice it, you do something 2,000 times at the major league level, that's pretty damn special. I don't even care if it's 2,000 times striking out as a hitter. That means you were good enough to be in the league for an extended period of time to do something 2,000 times. That's something that is pretty praiseworthy, if we're being honest with ourselves. And he was 5 or 6 guys active in the league right now with 2,000 plus hits. That's pretty significant accomplishment.
Yeah, I love that he said that he gives all of those milestone baseballs to his mom. So she's holding on to, 500, 1,000, 1,500, and now she's got 2,000 to add to that mantle or trophy case, wherever she keeps it. So Ms. Andrews will enjoy that for sure. Hey, we're, talking about this. Anything else from the game? If not, we got another really cool milestone moment to talk about. Liam Hendriks, baby, ringing the bell.
Yeah, and that's obviously something that's a little bit bigger than baseball. Liam Hendriks had his final chemo treatment today for his recovery plan from being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma back 5 months ago. So saw him ringing the bell on Sox social media pages here today. He took to Instagram, put out an individualized message to fans, thanking them for their support. Obviously, his family, his wife, for being there and supporting him throughout all of this. So that's really significant. I don't think anybody really expected anything less out of Liam, just knowing and I say this in the most positive way possible, knowing the psychopath that he is out there on the mound and the competitor that he is. You knew he was going to fight through that and he was going to just kick its living ass, and he did that.
Yeah, he did that 100%. It was excellent to see him doing that, and great to see that. I love that video. That was honestly probably the loudest I cheered on opening day when Liam popped up on the big board and announced, that he was about to have that last treatment and start moving forward, and said play ball. So that got the juices flowing for me. Good to see him follow up with that and ringing the bell today on social media. So cool and tough. Hashtag fuck cancer. Hashtag ring the bell. Love it. I love the comment section here. Make sure you join on YouTube so you can get your take in like that. All right, Steve, as we trudge forward here, we're looking at finale of the series. White Sox will be looking to win their first series of the year, take one from the Giants, and it'll be Lance Lynn Day Thursday, and you and I get to go and take it all in person. Looking forward to it.
Source. Hashtag confirmed. It's going to be a guts and nuts kind of day. The big bastard on the mound. I cannot fucking wait. It's time to go out there and win a damn series. Going to be going out there against Alex Wood for the Giants, left-handed pitcher. So I think we might see a little bit of a different lineup tomorrow from the Sox, trying to play some of the platoon advantages. One of the things Pedro Grifol talked about when constructing this roster during the spring was finding guys that do one thing particularly well. Some of the guys that are here now, Hanser Alberto, being a guy that has historically hit left-handed pitching pretty well, about a 109 WRC plus for his career. Recently recalled Jake Berger, guy that has mashed left-handed pitching. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there right now. Mr. Jake Berger will be my pick to click for tomorrow's action.
Oop. I love it. I love it. Yeah, he's back. Hashtag back from Charlotte. And it was only like a 3-game stint there, but hey, that's what happens when injuries arise. So you got the call. I like that pick there. Man, I'm so excited to see Lance Lynn. I'm trying to think about the lineup here with let's see, with the righties. Who are we going with? I think Sebi will be in. I would imagine Sebi gets some play here, right? After he has getting the, first couple here. Matchup advantage too there. I'll go with Sebi. He hit a bomb when he was in and got his first start down in Houston. So I'm going to ride with that, Steve. And there was one thing that I kind of raced past that I do want to go back to and talk about from today's game. And that's Tim Anderson's ejection. And if you didn't see it, it was a situation where in his at-bat, was it in the third inning, he tried to call for timeout and was trying to look back at the umpire and call timeout and use his disengagement. Umpire didn't grant it, which he can do. He doesn't have to acknowledge it, right? So then Tim's like kind of even stepped out when the pitch comes in, strike out, goes back to the dugout. He does say something to the umpire, like making like eye contact, something about that to, figure it out for the next time so he can actually get his timeout. So it wasn't on that. Luis Robert comes up and has questionable pitches called, strikes against him, eventually strikes out, and there's some jawing going back and forth from the dugout. Couldn't really tell what it was at first from the broadcast, and then you see the ump go over DJ Rayburn and give the heave-ho to Tim, and he gets really animated on the top step. And Tim was kind of making the case that he was yelling at the pitcher for the Giants and not at the ump, but obviously it was taken that way. So thoughts on this? And is the league going to be, dense enough to suspend Tim Anderson?
I mean, look, the league does a lot of stupid shit, so you can't put anything past them at this point. But you saw it, and there was actually a clip that was going around from the Giants broadcast that actually showed Anderson talking to DJ Rayburn. He says, "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to that motherfucker over there."
Yep, that's exactly what he said. I got the transcript here. Yep.
So
that motherfucker right there. Yep.
Yeah, and then he proceeds to call him soft. So again, you never really know what the league is going to do with these types of things. The shows are being much more prevalent these days, and then the league kind of following up and siding with the umpires in too many of these instances. This is something that does not warrant any kind of a suspension or a fine in my baseball world anyway, but the baseball world I live in and the one that Rob Manfred live in definitely are not the same.
Right. Yeah. So I'm really hoping it's not. I kind of didn't even think about it until our guy Sox Insane tweeted out that please don't suspend Tim Anderson, something along those lines. I was like, oh shit, that's right. They've done that for dumbass stuff in the past. Like what? Like a full benches clearing brawl. I remember in Detroit. And it's like, oh yeah, he made contact with the umpire. And it's like, okay, well, everybody was being pushed back then, so they've done it for that. So, just keep an eye on that.
Or the original bat toss when he was literally trying to fire up his own team. He's yelling in the direction of his dugout, but he gets ejected for that.
Ooh, Steve for commish. Did you get any interest in that?
Have your people get in touch with my people here. I think we can make the price work.
All right. That about does it for this edition of Sox on Tap. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure, once again, you're subscribed on Tap Sportsnet on YouTube. Go hit the subscribe button. Make sure you jump in the comment section so we can have a discussion, feature all of your comments live on the show. And as always, follow on social media at Sox on Tap, at On Tap Sportsnet. Our handles are right here below us. Steve, can't wait to be out at the ballpark with you tomorrow. Until next time, White Sox forever.
White Sox.